Deconstructing the Basis, a novel by Dawson Freeby.
All right, today we are jumping headfirst into a novel that doesn't just blur the line between fiction and reality, it completely shatters it. We're breaking down The Basis, an incredible story where a writer's words literally become a weapon that can change the world.
And this right here, this is the moment of pure terror for our main character, an author named Gananatha. I mean, can you imagine? You write a story, and then it leaps right off the page, comes to life, and is now standing in your living room. This one line kicks off the entire mind-bending mystery we're about to get into.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The whole thing starts with what is, quite literally, a writer's worst nightmare. The idea that your stories could have real-world consequences you never, ever intended.
So, picture this. Gananatha is just a regular author, living his quiet life, thinking he's in control of the worlds he creates. But that illusion of control just evaporates when a mysterious woman, who we only know as Lady X, shows up at his door and completely turns his entire reality upside down.
And this is the accusation that fuels the whole story. Lady X isn't just a crazy fan. She's claiming that a character in one of his books is actually her. And by writing her into existence and revealing her name, he has single-handedly ruined her life. In that one moment, the wall between fiction and fact just got demolished.
So, how do you even begin to solve a puzzle like that? Well, the novel is clever. It splits into two different timelines. In the present, we're with Gananatha, who's dealing with the terrifying results of a story, but at the same time, we jump into the past to see a ghostwriter named Lanka who is being grilled about the story's creation. The key to what's happening now is buried in what he wrote back then.
So how on earth did a simple manuscript become so dangerous? Well, this next part is all about the origin story of this text, the script that started this whole mess.
Back in the past, Lanka, who's this writer with some pretty radical ideas, gets a very, very strange job offer. A shadowy, powerful guy named Constantine hires him. But he doesn't just want a novel, he wants a blueprint for an entirely new reality.
Now, Constantine's plan is, well, it's completely insane. He wants Lanka to write the outline for a political revolution. But this isn't just propaganda. He truly believes this novel will work like computer code, a command reel that once he runs it will literally program reality and cause a revolution to just happen.
And this is the central sci-fi idea that the whole plot is built on. The book calls it text to reality. It's the theory that if you write a story with enough detail and the right structure, you can actually force it to become real. The book even points to that weird real-life story from 1898 that seemed to predict the sinking of the Titanic, almost like the idea isn't entirely new.
So you've got this grand, universe-bending plan to rewrite reality with a book. What could possibly go wrong? Well, as it turns out, everything. The code gets corrupted.
And it all comes down to something so simple, so human. A deadline. Lanka is in a rush, so he does what a lot of writers might do. He cuts a corner. He copies and pastes a few chapters from another manuscript to beef up his own. The problem? He didn't really read what he was stealing. He thought it was just some dense philosophy, but he had no clue it was actually a plot for a high-tech missile attack.
And just look at how fast this all goes south. Over just a few days, a script that was supposed to be a straightforward political coup gets accidentally merged with a totally separate sci-fi action story. It's like a corrupted computer file. And then on day 7, Constantine hits enter on the whole thing, completely unaware there's a virus hidden inside. And boom, the result is pure chaos. You don't get one reality or the other. You get two completely different stories, two different sets of rules, slamming into each other and shattering the world as everyone knows it.
So, what does it actually look like when two contradictory stories are forced to happen at the same time? Well, reality doesn't just bend, it breaks completely.
So I have to ask, do you think you can get trapped inside a book? Because in the world of The Basis, that's not some philosophical question anymore. It's a very real, very terrifying possibility.
And it gets incredibly weird. For example, two characters in the story literally get a phone call telling them they're not in their own narrative anymore. They've been displaced, and now they're living inside the pages of James Joyce's Ulysses, of all things.
And just when you think things can't possibly get any stranger, the cat starts talking. Ganatha's pet cat, who he named Carl Jung, suddenly gains the ability to speak. And he doesn't have very nice things to say. It's this perfect, darkly funny moment that shows just how absurd and illogical their new reality has become.
Now, faced with this total breakdown of logic, the characters don't just panic. They try to think their way out of it. The book is packed with these intense conversations where they're trying to use everything from quantum physics to Buddhist philosophy to just find a rulebook, any rulebook, that can explain what in the world is going on.
Okay, but let's circle back. What about Lady X, the woman with the gun who started this whole thing? Where does she fit in? The truth is, not at all what you'd expect.
And here's the biggest twist of all. It turns out Lady X was never a fictional character to begin with. She was a real person murdered in a real-world conspiracy. It was a tragic case of mistaken identity. So she's not a glitch from the text-to-reality program. She's a ghost, or some kind of spirit, who got caught up in the chaos. She thinks that since reality is now a script, the person who wrote it, Gananatha, must be the only one who can expose the person who had her killed.
And all of this, the talking cat, the colliding stories, the ghost seeking justice, it all ties together to make one really powerful point about the world we live in.
You really have to see the book in layers to get it. You've got the author's world, right? Then there's the fictional script inside that world. Then you've got the bizarre collided reality that those scripts created. And underneath it all, you have the very real murder of Lady X that happened before any of this. The novel just erases the borders between them all.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. The Basis uses this wild sci-fi plot to argue that what we call reality is really just a story that we all agree on. It's built from news headlines, political stories, and even fiction. The book is telling us that the line between the stories we tell and the world we actually live in is way thinner than we think.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of chilling question to think about. If powerful people can literally write narratives that become real, like Constantine tried to do, it makes you wonder, who's writing the story that we're all living in right now? Who holds the pen?